Hello everyone and welcome to the stream again, and if you saw yesterday's gameplay, you know that this is a continuation of that. As you saw before, this game is a continuation of one story that branches into a multiple different varieties of outcomes and possibilities for the overall story, as you see on the right there next to the book. In those little card spots, that's all the little possible realities I can do within this one if I choose said one with my course of actions. So let's continue this story from where we left off last time. Last time? What am I doing? Can't even spell. Can't even say English. Do you even English, bro? Cause I don't. Hell, I hope all you wonderful gamers out there are staying warm from the cold, or depending where you are, keep them cool. Because it might be hot somewhere and cold either. This game's pretty fun though. And if you want to try it out for yourself, I'm pretty sure it might possibly be on Steam. Don't hold me to that because I still haven't checked because I'm an idiot and I really should check out for you fools. Oh, you ain't fools. I'm the real fool here.
Maybe it was the cold. But after a few steps, Renado's optimism started to slump. What if Calaveras couldn't help? Did Renado dare use the Sky Ripper?
But it is on PlayStation 4's
that he had chosen this
store.
Path. It was so much simpler
and it's
to
free
rescue
too,
friends and attack enemies, even if some of those friends were more trouble than his enemies. Some of those enemies had been friends before and might be lovers after. But, okay, it wasn't all that much simpler. No. Physics made his brain hurt. That, at least, he was sure of.
I just say it again. Oh, I should have blocked it. I'm blocking this gun bad. My goodness, I can't block it.
He tried to focus on the now. The ravens who seemed everywhere all the time. Where did they hatch from?
Who knows?
Were there giant raven hatcheries somewhere, or did they have families? Ooh, he didn't want to think about raven mummies raising their darling raven chicks. Yeah, Calaveras would help. He would make Renado feel better about using the Sky Ripper. And then Renado wouldn't have to worry about ravens ever again.
Get rid of that blue motherfucker. Oh my goodness, I suck, I'm blocked. Yeah. That's alright. Oh, you're so low? What's up you doing?
Imagine getting a horse up in one of these things. He would be cursing a blue streak.
See, let's keep going to see if I can get myself some help. That's really what I need. Ooh, 1 HP. Okay, I tried to juke.
There were still so many games to play, Renato thought as he died.
I tried to use my X ability to throw, but it wouldn't let me. Get over here. No help. $161 out of 175. So we're sort of in the good. Until I start getting them beating again. And I lose more of my health like last time.
He was sort of yanking his own chain, wasn't he?
Funny.
Renato had sacrificed a friend for the Skyrim. It would be worth it if he could bring a super weapon to the rebellion.
Maybe.
The scientists had ruined everything.
Had to.
Calaveras had never let him down.
Yeah, of course I can make it work better.
But when Renato explained about the strings, Calaveras grew thoughtful.
Oh, strings, you say? Well, the Arcana do speak of the ties that bind the world.
He drew many intricate symbols in the dirt.
Yeah, so, according to my calculations, each time you fire, I'm afraid there's a 1 in 128 chance you'll destroy the universe.
That's
My goodness.
pretty good odds. That's like rolling, 21 dice and they all come up 6.
No. That's so not right. Each time you use it... Okay, look. Just don't use it, ever. At all, okay?
All right, I guess. As he sailed away from the mountains, Renato could see clouds darkening. Rain? No. Ships. Imperial ships, swarming thick as bees. This was it. The big battle. They could not afford to lose this one. What if it did not go well? What if he had to use the Sky Ripper? Could he gamble the universe? On the other hand, what were the odds of rolling 21 sixes in a row?
Apparently not in your favor.
The battle was not going spectacularly well. What had the rebels been thinking? They'd been thinking he would bring the Sky Ripper, or the Iblastone, or that he'd sideline Zenobia somehow, or turn her. Couldn't he use the Sky Ripper just once? After all, if chances were 1 in 128, that meant he'd for sure be okay the first time. They'd get worse each time he used it, but the first time would be okay, right? He wasn't sure that it was right. So he didn't fire the Sky Ripper. He just brought it
Now I can open this
along,
door.
in case. I wonder what happens if I go that way.
It does happen. Where am I?
Hoped his hook didn't break.
That was easy. Now it gets progressively harder.
Someone had told him the odds didn't change just because you'd had a streak of good luck. His gut told him that was wrong, though. And he always listened to his gut. On the other hand, 128 chances to win, but one of them would destroy the universe. Ooh, that seemed a bit serious.
Yeah.
Maybe he could defeat the Emperor without firing the Skyripper. Maybe he could bluff, but with a real weapon. Like in cards, when you had 3 knaves, but you pretended you had a fizbin. That could work. Reynardo wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform?
Onward. Forward. Ooh, I jumped into that fireball. There's supposed to be a way I can get across. Huh. I guess this time I'm going a different way. Taking that too.
He set up the Skyripper and let it warm up.
Oh, there's the Emperor.
He would bluff if he had to. Zenobia came out, flanked by a very daunting platoon of ravens. You won't actually use that, she said in that annoying, I know everything because I'm a cat and you know nothing because you're just a fox voice she had. Or I know the odds. Good. Because there's a real chance you could destroy the universe. No, not the first time I use it. The odds are too low. What? No. Yeah, sure. The first time, the odds are practically nothing. They only go up if I use it a bunch more times. No, but that's not how odds work. Didn't you pay attention in class? Now
Apparently
surrender, or I'll use it. Just once, he said. Don't. He felt sure the odds were with him. You have to go with his gut. That's what heroes do. Fire, he said. Please? The Skyripper fired. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. It was awesome.
That he fucked.
Then he noticed there was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger, and even larger. Crates fell upwards into it, and the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror. as it poured into the ravenous hole. Ah, 1 in 128. What are the odds? Thought Reynardo. And then everything fell into the hole and was gone. And just like that, he was alive again, and back on the Farfarer, still fleeing burning Ubar. The book was still open before him. So, the book was a portal. It took you to the future when you was powerful, but dangerous if used improperly. But he was starting to feel like he was getting the hang of this. There was a way through to victory. He could feel it. He just had to keep running the path of destinies. With that, the book fluttered back to the beginning, and he fell into it. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game-changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
So here's the 3 options. I'm gonna go rescue the rabbit.
Ah, Lapino. Apparently, the mad rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not...
Oh, I can skip this, alright. I have all 4
Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen the winged horse. He'd only sold it. But... where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens?
He has an arrow in his head. What the hell did he attack me? He get it. Didn't know you were the last one.
People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Reynardo had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the Ravens call about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice.
Really nice.
Reynardo looked around the empty village and reflected. The Sky Ripper had turned out to be far too dangerous to be used. Time to turn to what he knew best.
I'm beating that ass.
Ravens didn't smell any better dead, Reynardo thought.
What do we have here? 4, 4.
Ooh, sparkly, thought Renato.
What's this? I haven't been down here. Down to the whale.
Ravens were landing everywhere.
Yeah,
The advance guard. He'd better get moving.
Someone
If
heard
they
me
got to
throw-
Lupino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lupino. Well, unless he really was a traitor, obviously. Then they'd probably pin a medal on his chest.
Renato, smash!
Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lupino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The Ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, we see this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people.
We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who also happened to be a deadly sorcerer and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power.
Let's take on it.
Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renato's best friend in Swordfu school. And you're still mad for her, the rabbit reminded him. They'd been close. She'd told him things no one else knew. But she'd never told him who she really was.
She knows all the Emperor's plans, chuckled the master spy.
She won't give them up easily. She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lupino. Taking her would change the game, all right.
Let's see how this plays out.
The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty.
Keep thinking those are the eyeballs thing. The little spotlight.
What else could you hook?
Birds, shields, name it. Stars on the see up and I says about to sit. What was the original for?
Ooh, wouldn't this gauntlet look swell with that jewel in it?
Let's see. Rarely, but I won't do that. Let's open the fire door.
Oh, look! Fracking.
Ooh. Physical resistance ×3. I meant to break them pots over there, but nope, I stepped on the top part. So I got this.
Why was Lupino urging him to capture Zenobia? Obviously it was a trap. But you never knew how Lupino thought. Sometimes his plans were so convoluted they did the exact opposite to what Lupino wanted. And there must be some way to play on that, Bernardo thought.
Oh, these are the eyes. That is right. Gotcha.
Hey, why don't you guys fight in groups? Oh, I know. Because there's no I in team.
Good. Gotcha. Ooh, he's the one running your money. Ain't doing that.
So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved Geese, Annette, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renardo hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renardo.
Right.
Oh, this is going to be fun, said Lupino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan.
I'm just interested in how that's going to play out.
It was time for a little exploration.
Some exploration for the fucking birds. Like a proper toad. So the Toad Emperor regrets his decision, but he thinks it's the right call.
He knew the known known, and even some of the known unknown. But he didn't know the unknown unknowns. You dig?
Nope. That's some bull. I got attacked by 3 of these birds. Like, that's some triple team and DS rate.
Renato felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Peppino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Renato jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat.
Renato, she said. Are those new scars? They look good on you. You never returned my velvet jacket. It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet. Oh, what does an imperial princess know about style? Oh, get a room, you two, said Latino.
But the fleet was coming on fast, so they put Zenobia on the Farfarer and took her east over the Nexus.
She'd vanished from Swordfu School, from his life, without even saying goodbye, without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter. Ah, Lapina was right, Renato thought reluctantly. She knows things. She recognized his look. You're taking me to the interrogators, aren't you? She said, wide-eyed. And then she jumped, with horror. Renato saw Zenobia plummeting. Then he saw the Nexus below them. Cats always land on their feet. Ah, she'll head for the Imperial outpost, yelled Lapino. You have to catch her.
So she just jumped off. She's like, yeet.
Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. If he ran, he could head her off before she reached her minions at the outpost. Well, he did love a good chase.
He felt like Tarzan.
I don't even know who Tarzan is. That's my question. Oh my goodness, I hit the button to go there, and I didn't know what I have to do, but sometimes the block doesn't want to work. Or I'm too slow. You weren't here last time. There was a show guy here last time.
There was an engraving. Maximum capacity, 130 people.
That's nice to know. Here's the purple door. Big ass. Okay, that.
Once, Renato had opened a chest, and Jack-in-the-Box jumped out. Jack-in-the-Boxes, they gave them the Wiggins. He was closing on her. He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things. Why hadn't he shackled her?
Renato wasn't used to being on this side of the whole prisoner-jailer thing.
Ooh, a workbench. Did he have any jewels he hadn't tried out?
He had.
Struck through him. You saw that, didn't you?
Bernardo reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. Oh, you left without saying goodbye. Again, he said, "Please, I'm enjoying this a little too much," she said, shaken. "Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you?" said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. "She knows all his plans."
All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Renato about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebels' secret base. Renato didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her?
So I have two new things I can do. This is too cruel. Skip the rebel base. Let's skip it.
As they pulled away from the Nexus, Renato could see the fear in Zenobia's eyes. "I can't take her to those creatures at the base," he whispered to Lapino. "Ah, you've gone soft. Soft in the head. We captured her for what she knows. I'll take her to the mountains. Tell all the horrible things the Emperor's done. Yeah, believe me, she'll turn." And he turned the wheel. "The hell you will!" shouted Lapino, and he grabbed the wheel back from him. The two of them wrestled for control of the ship. It shot off like a mad sparrow. Suddenly, Renato was falling. When he came to, Zenobia was standing over him. "Why didn't you take me to the base to be interrogated?" she demanded. "Do you know what's left of people they interrogate? This is some trick, isn't it? To make me fall for you again. Well, I won't." "Oh, go on then. Scurry back to your ravens. I can't stop you." But strangely, she didn't. As Renato set off to find the Farfarer, she followed him, keeping just out of sight of the ravens.
So is she gonna follow me? Maybe.
"Don't look down," he thought.
Hit the barrel back. Nope, get away. That had to suck.
There were stickers all over the platform for really hot lady foxes, with pictures and addresses and everything.
Really? No, I tried the juke. It was too late. Okay, you two are not here.
As Renato stopped to sniff the wind, Zenobia came up, still mad. Did you really think you'd just talk me into betraying my father?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sure, that was exactly my plan. Then why aren't you even talking to me? Because I've never talked you into anything in my life. They're gonna court-martial you for letting me go. He caught a whiff of the Farfarer. Wet rope, tar, and a cask of Scobel ale he'd spilt last year.
It was that way.
You can smell that? Oh goodness. Well, he's a fox.
Big eyes you have.
And yeah. I need more power for my soul.
Oh, kill the fox!
Cause the ravens. Nobody said they were original.
Thank you. Oh, what the hell?
No wonder his mother had told him to eat his fruit.
Okay. No help to be found anywhere. So sad.
He was getting no... Renato wondered if he should have taken Zenobia to the rebel base for real. Maybe she wasn't playing him after all. After the bleak talk about the Emperor's dark secrets, he was regretting his suspicions.
What's the ship?
Sure enough, the Farfarer had crashed in some rocks. There was no sign of Lapino. Zenobia caught up. All that kid stuff in Swordfu School. Look, look, that's the past. We're adults now. We have duties to other people. We have destinies. What are you talking about? And you are the most arrogant, Slow-witted, light-fingered, mercenary, immoral, reckless. Run away with me, said Reynardo, and he realized he meant it. Oh, just like that, she demanded. I will,
Still love him?
if you will. So she kissed him.
Better love story
And it
than
was the
Twilight.
best kiss he'd ever had. They held hands as they boarded the Farfarer. Reynardo felt light-hearted, like the winds that were playing the rigging like a balalaika. But Lapino, I need to get back to Lapino, he said, suddenly realizing he could have been captured. A prisoner. He's not. How'd you know? He saw something in her eyes he didn't understand. He fell, didn't he? Into the abyss. She looked away. Wouldn't
Okay.
answer. But then a bolt smashed through the Farfarer's keel. The broken
Really?
ship plummeted out of the clouds.
Just fate was like, you gonna be with your girl? Yeet! We stopping that right here, right now.
Reynardo picked himself off the deck. They were alive. We have to get to my private ship, she said. Do you trust me? I guess I must, he said. You go on ahead. Clear the path, she said. I can't kill my own soldiers. He
Yeah, you
wanted to say that he
gonna let me
didn't
kill him?
trust her. That he had no idea what he was getting into. But he had no choice, did he? He was following his heart. That's what it means to be a hero.
I can't kill
You
my
have to
own
follow
soldiers,
your heart.
but I'm gonna let you do it for me. Like,
Or I could go that way, he thought.
yep.
She tried. You're hooked.
Funny.
They paused to catch their breath. It was strange to be so close to her. What are you thinking? He asked. I'm trying very hard not to think. Me too, he said. Up ahead, he could see the thin silver of Zenobia's personal ship. It looked fast. They would leave all this behind.
Alright. Just gonna collect from this chest, if you don't mind.
Didn't I just kill your brother?
Oh my goodness. And got rid of your freaking friend there, but he'll even give you more strength. Annoying.
Take a leap of faith, said the inscription.
There's 4 of them here. Make it so best to get easier for you. Ow. Outside you go. Don't forget I jumped in. where personal ship we go. Got rid of both. That's how it's done.
As they reached her ship, Renato suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach.
She shot me.
He was surprised to see a crossbow bolt sticking out of it. I was going to lead the Empire to a secret base, said Lapino. But no, you had to screw up my plan because you still got a thing for her. Renato stared at Zenobia. The kiss. Was it real? She said, with a look of indescribable sorrow. She gestured and said an arcane word, and Lapino went flying into the abyss, screaming, "I'm telling your father!" Then she knelt down to cradle his head, and her paws felt very soft and warm. And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
Look for this icon when making choices in the book.
There would be a way to win. Renato could feel it. He'd have to explore choices he'd never made before he could figure it all out, though. And with that, the book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again. And he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really lead the Ravens?
What do we want to do? Let's do find the temple.
The island was windswept down. Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis Stone? Long hidden in a buried temple? Another ancient item that was only resurfacing now? Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals?
Yep.
were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late.
It's because they're bird brains. They don't know how to open doors. Solve puzzles.
Once, he found a Superman issue #1 in mint condition in a jar he'd broken. He planned to keep breaking things until he had the whole series.
It'll take a while though. I don't know how many books there are. Okay, you're going down. Grenade. That's my highest now.
Welcome to
55
Earth.
combo.
Renato told the corpses. It was something he'd seen in a play once.
My highest one yet. Round 4. Mission. Travel in pairs. Ignore the voice in your head. So he had a plan.
He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. He really needed to construct additional pylons.
Funny. This game making references left, right, and center, I swear. We needed to construct additional pylons. Half my bird's pretty. That's the bomb.
Done beautifully. Where was a bard when you needed one?
So we're going to sing songs about toes. Liberty.
Renato had once invested in a jewel store, but it lost money because someone kept robbing it. Twist, it was him.
Oh, wow.
There had to be some way to use the Iblis stone. It was old, wasn't it? People are so much cleverer now, and Renato was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people.
Alright, so open this.
The new pathway made Renato curious.
Here's the restricted.
This chest contained blank passports from 15 countries. And something useful.
Like password what? I don't know if I read that or not. Oh, I need this.
That could come in handy in a pinch.
Back my brain.
The Ravens, at least, could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders.
Probably because the birds don't like fire. That might just...
What did you do if one of these platforms stalled?
Pray.
It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that? It was the stone.
Can I not skip?
Eager, thirsty. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once.
And he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him.
Why not capture the core of Sky Ripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. Get the core, said the stone anxiously.
But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it.
Clever plan.
The gem could give great power, but it was evil. But Renato had a plan. He would divide the stone into the power half and the evil half. He sought out the sage Calaveras.
Oh, you need a mirror of splitting.
Croaked Calaveras.
I can make one.
Calaveras set up various shiny things. And soon Renato was setting the stone down in the middle of Calaveras' lab. There was a flash, and now Renato was looking at himself. Except with a mustache, and a goatee and darker hair. There were two Iblis stones. One light and one dark. Renato took the light one. He felt a rush of great power. Now I could defeat the Emperor. Wait a minute. Unfortunately, he couldn't think of any way to use it without hurting someone. That wouldn't be nice. Give me that, said his evil-looking twin. And he drew his sword. He only got it halfway out of the scabbard when he fainted from the effort. Obviously, neither weak, evil Renato nor powerful, nice Renato was any threat to the Empire. After the Emperor's victory, they were exhibited in a museum until time ended, which was soon after.
That's how that ends?
He had tried something bold and paid the price for it.
It was short.
Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper,
But ancient codices
Alright,
held
so
hints
that,
of other things. A
that
stone
wasn't
that ate
the
souls.
thing I needed to do.
A ruby that drank blood. A jewel only a righteous man could give away.
Were all these things the Iblis stone? Long hidden in a buried temple? Another ancient item that was only resurfacing now? Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals?
I can stop both of them. I hate that boy.
Already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late.
Look, it's not personal, but those look terrible.
And she was actually my magical thing. I jumped into that. It auto locks at times. No.
Here, fishy! It wasn't his fault. They looked so breakable.
Because they were.
You couldn't hack this kind of firewall. You had to warm it up to you.
Funny.
There had to be some way to use the Iblis stone. It was old, wasn't it? People were so much cleverer now. And Renato was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people.
Thank you, Birdie.
The Ravens, at least, could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders.
At least I'm getting health out of the chest. Well, that's something.
platforms was so expensive they'd run out of budget for guardrails. It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made. It was the stone, eager, thirsty. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him. Why not capture the core of Skyripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the Transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. "It's the core," said the stone anxiously. But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it. The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he joined the rebellion? Wasn't that why he'd refused to be a soldier? He'd agreed to come on board only if he could freelance. The stone felt a bit clingy, and he had a feeling it did not have his best interests at heart. The sage Calaveras had told him where to find the Skyripper, a weapon capable of challenging the gods. Even without its armature, the core would still possess great power. He would go there. The moment he landed the Farfarer, Renato had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sail for Zenobia's island. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Swordfu School together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one. That she was the Emperor's daughter. No. Kill Zenobia, whispered the stone. Before it's too late.
Nope.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
Oh, you got such delicious looking eyeballs.
Caught the lead, Raven.
Thank you, I think, said Renato. It never hurt to be polite.
I just want to eat you.
The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. "You're weak," whispered the stone. "The core will kill you." "Are you afraid of it?" "No, don't be ridiculous," it chuckled. "But it's unstable. It's poisonous if I just carry it, and if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically." Renato did not trust Rock that talked in his head. He went onwards.
Well, it did. The fucking cut a thing in the universe.
As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical.
No! It's too much power. We'll rip a hole in space and time.
Even he's
He had a sudden vision of plunging his gauntlet into the core and dying in anguish. That wasn't his vision, was it? The stone had sent him its darkest fears, hadn't it? He had a sudden impulse to do exactly that. He raised his right fist and plunged it into the core. There was a rush of light. He thought he could hear the stone screaming. And then he passed out.
When Renato came to, the core was gone. But the Iblis stone was no longer black, but glowing with a blue light. And it was silent. "I can't hear you," he sang out, and "You?" It didn't answer. "Ha!" he said. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible. It was time to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he? As the Farfarer sailed towards the Nexus, Renato wondered if the core had been created to quiet inside his head.
Well, it sealed away their physical form, so I figure it was made to get rid of him.
The Nexus was infested with ravens, but that didn't bother Renato. With each death, the converted Iblis stone in his gauntlets glowed brighter, and he felt stronger. Wow.
He was getting a bit bloodthirsty, wasn't he?
Well, he wasn't one. He was a warrior. They're supposed to be.
Imagine if you built a house on one of these things. Oh, that would be amazing. It would be like having a boat.
Alright.
What was really fun was hooking yourself onto a moving ship.
I bet. The adrenaline. Now, long ass bloody thing.
Coming back to him. He wondered what he'd remember next.
Oh, more health. Critical strike.
The core, absorbed in the stone, was doing its job perfectly. Renato could feel a little eldritch jolt every time he downed a raven, but then it flowed into the glowing stone the way water flows down a riverbed. It all felt perfectly natural. As if all his life, this was what he had been meant to do.
With the core absorbed in the stone, Renato had enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. First, he would disrupt the enemy communication lines. Then he would head for the rebel base. From there, the rebellion would launch its final attack.
He didn't even get a chance.
Renato tore through the last remaining guards at the outpost like hot coffee through snow. There was a far speaker toad here. He called the council speaker. He knew she would be thrilled. And she was. She wanted him to come back to base. They had plans to discuss and a medal to give him. A large, golden medal. Great, said Renato. Let's talk about who else I can kill. Then the far speaker croaked again.
Hello, Renato,
it said.
Why did this head in that voice?
If you get sick of slaughtering second-rate birds in the Nexus, I'm waiting for you in the mountains.
You sound like Yoda.
Zenobia, the witch, taunting him. With the stone, he'd finally be her match.
It's Yoda.
Zenobia was taunting him. No doubt she hoped to lure him into a trap. Well, he was nobody's sucker. Especially not hers. He carried victory in his gauntlet. He would go where the council pointed him.
Oh.
As he set foot on the island, Renato felt energized, like when he was hunting or dancing. Then he smelt it, the stench of ravens.
It was a good thing he was here, too, before they tripped over the secret base. He was really saving the council toad's bacon, so to speak. Renato felt restless. Maybe he could focus all that energy into something useful.
Yee, that was a big explosion. Them other two guys didn't even get hit by me. They just walked into that explosion by the third. No remorse. My goodness.
The ravens had reduced Ubar to rubble. Renato chuckled at the irony that it was now the secret rebel base.
What do we got? More ore? This one. Hey. Ah!
He hadn't noticed that path before.
Yeah, because I didn't have the sword when I came here, like, 20 years ago, or whenever. Kill Burger, the way I wanted to know.
Renato wondered if it wasn't cheaper to build bridges and stairs.
Oh, where the heck am I supposed to be going? Oh, this way.
Hey, I'm a firefox, thought Renato.
also treasure hunter level 30. Haven't done this one.
See? Renato was a hero of the revolution. He deserved a medal. Soon, he deserved every medal they had, and hopefully one big medal ceremony in front of everybody with trumpets so everyone could know what he'd accomplished.
It's sadly it didn't turn out like that, because we've seen what happened. And everything. None of his plans ever worked.
Ooh, sparkly, thought Renato.
I can't believe it.
When Renato went to the china shop, for some reason the owner was always nervous.
Because he always kept breaking the dang pot.
Long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Grenade. I left that thing.
Shields.
I'm gonna use the power of my station. What do you do?
Inside the rebel base, Renato was invited to the council speaker's private chambers.
So, this is the Iblis Stone?
He said,
I can feel its power. Renato told her how he had fed the core to the stone and made something even more useful than either. Crazy like a fox, she croaked. And Renato chuckled as if he'd never heard the joke before. We've given you the best quarters and a bottle of Tantalonian firewater. All for you. So they'd remembered. He woke in the morning with the sweetest of hangovers. But the Iblis Stone was gone from his gauntlet. The corridors were empty, except for a few rebels who looked just as hungover as him. Come on, you'll miss the battle, they yelled. Renato added sail as the Farfarer scudded across the sky. Who could have taken the Iblis Stone? Was it some Imperial spy? He would find him, and kill him, and take the stone back. Reynardo had a bad taste in his mouth. He was killing ravens, but it wasn't fun. It felt like a chore. Oh, Reynardo hated chores. As a fox kid, he'd gone hungry rather than clean his room. He still didn't clean his room, he just moved house every few years. Who had the Iblastone anyway? Up ahead, he could hear screaming and croaking and cawing. But who was winning?
There was a pleasant breeze coming through that door. Had it been closed before?
Riding on the shield.
As he ran forward, Reynardo noticed that some ravens were starting to ignore him. Just running away. Who were they running from? Some hero of the revolution? If some other so-called hero of the revolution had the stone and tried to take his victory and his medals, Reynardo was going to be seriously pissed off. He was the hero, not some other bozo.
Very well made, weren't they?
I'm not well enough to stop me. So many shows. Like, really though.
For a moment, Reynardo wished that somebody had been watching.
What's the deal? This thing's almost over.
Finally, Reynardo came to the Emperor's ship. Zenobia lay dead in front of it. The ship was a wreck. Ravens lay dead, sprawled everywhere. Bloody feathers spattered across the deck and the dock. The council speaker came out. She was waving a sword around like a flag. "Look at me, Reynardo!" she croaked. The Iblastone on the sword was black as coal. "Now I will be Empress.
and all shall tremble before me, she croaked.
So the stone had her. It was in her brain, whining for blood. I'm afraid I can't allow that, said Reynardo, and moved to fight her. Toads are not usually good with swords. Something about the footwork. And the council speaker was not even a warrior. She was always tripping over things, which is quite an impressive achievement when you're a toad. Yet somehow, she was pressing Reynardo backwards as he desperately tried to keep her sword away from his throat. Look, why don't you keep the stone? He asked. You deserve it.
Blood and souls for Iblis, she croaked. Blood and souls.
She got under his guard with her sword. It was just the tip. But sometimes just the tip is enough. He could feel his soul being sucked into the stone. As he died, he felt embarrassed more than anything else.
Well,
He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before. Maybe there were new paths that had opened up, like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies. And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
well, thank you all for watching the stream and coming out, and hope to see y'all later. Next time, as always, keep safe and peace.